and welcome to this podcast, Feel Inside Yourself. My name is Ulla Goldberg. I'm a host of this podcast and I'm a coach and mentor from Germany. I help people to create a life with ease, with more serenity, with a positive mindset. And this podcast is here for you to raise your awareness, to become more mindful, and to just find peace and security within you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Feel Inside Yourself. And again, as you can hear, it's an English episode, and I'm very, very happy that I have another interview guest here, right from the United States. And it's Erin O'Neill. Erin is a health coach. She is a spiritual coach, and she is a medium, and that's what we will talk about today. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited. Thank you.
Thank you for saying yes when I asked you to be here on the podcast. First off, maybe we have to say we know each other for let me count, 13 years, almost.
That's
13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was an au pair in the United States, and I lived with Erin's sister and her family and took care of their kids. And then I met Erin, and she was always the funniest person. And I so loved it when she was around. So I'm very grateful that after so many years, we connect for a very different reason now today. And first off, what is a medium?
Okay, so a medium is, this is so funny because when I got my hair done yesterday, they're like, explain it. So it's a medium. So as a medium actually means, so I have to elevate my soul and my spirit through meditation. I have to eat right. I drink a lot of water. So I elevate my spirit, and then spirit, or whoever's crossing the other side, they lower their spirit. And so we meet in the middle. So that's where the terminology medium actually comes from. We meet in the middle. So we're a medium.
Okay, makes sense.
So it's not my size or anything like that. It's it's all like not how I like my meat or anything like that. It's like meet in the middle. And then every medium is a psychic. So I'm a psychic medium. So I get my information to be able to see like your life path. We call it the Book of Akashic Records. So with my third eye, I can read, what God wants me to see, to tell you at that time, as a medium, as a psychic, and then be able to foretell the future a little bit. I don't like the foretelling of the future, but it's more like your life path, like your life purpose, those things. And sometimes it's what you see at that time, because free will actually comes into play. So a lot of free will of other people can, and then God will just, try to like reorganize things to get you where you're supposed to be. Now you can be a psychic, and everyone is born with a gift, some sort of like psychic ability. So I call them the 4 C's. And it's clairsentience. So it's when you feel like, like when you get like the chills, like if you're talking to somebody and you're like, oh my God, I just got the chills. So I call those confirmation chills or angel chills. So like whatever you're saying at that time, where like you get like you're like, oh my gosh. So like whatever you said at that time, then that's you feeling spirit, then you're on the right path. So that's clairsentience. Clairaudience is hearing spirit. So you can hear words, or I hear, I don't really hear them speaking. I do a little bit, but it's not like a voice outside of my head. I can tell the difference. It's within me. It's inside me. So clairaudience. So audience is hearing, but I hear lots of noises, like and then I have to put them all together. Claircognizance is the knowing. So like when you know something and you don't understand why you know this, you just know. You cannot explain it, and you just have to trust your gut. So trust those instincts through your gut. And then it's clairvoyance, which is you're seeing. So like kind of like a movie in your third eye, or like I can see I'm supposed to be here. Like if you go into a house and you're getting ready to buy a house and you can actually envision your family in that house, or envision yourself at work somewhere. That's clairvoyance. So the 4 C's are just the tip of the iceberg of, your intuitive gifts, that actually we are born with all of those. And it's just like a muscle, and it's a memory that we have to continue to use, as we get older, like when you're little and your kids, or just you yourself, if you don't have kids, you're like, there's something in my room, or there's something here. And then your family, or, you want to make sure there's like, you're like, no, there's nothing there. No, there's nothing there. So actually it could be their angels, or it could be their guides, and it might not be something derogatory. So then those gifts kind of go away as we get older, because we didn't understand as parents, or your parents didn't understand when you were little. So I always taught my kids, like my Elizabeth could sense spirit. And I would just say, you have the power to tell them to go away. Nothing is allowed to scare you. Like, this is the house of God, like you have that power to tell them to go away. So I never told her that there wasn't anything there, because I don't know, if she thinks it or feels it, then I want them to have that power to trust your intuition, because your intuition to me is the way God is speaking to you.
And kids are very intuitive anyways. I mean, they just do what they want, and they just, like, out of intuition, that I want to play this, I want to do that, I want to do this. And then I think once they go to kindergarten or school, you never develop these skills that kids have. And it's more about studying, and you have to read and write and do this and do that. And in this world where it's always about doing something, it's not so much more about being. And then so the intuition is kind of gone after a while. When we're adults, we usually most people don't feel what their intuition is anymore.
I know. And then I think that's like you and I have discussed before we started recording, is that people are looking for their purpose. Well, go back to what made you so happy when you were little. What made you so happy? What gave you that fire, like, inside of you? Because, it was suppressed away for so many years, your intuition. And that's what that's God guiding us. That's the universe, or whatever you wish to call him, the greater being, the creator. That's what we just have to trust, those feelings inside of us. All about trust.
Yeah. So as a medium, you can work with people here that are alive, and they want to know more about their purpose and their way and things like that. And also you can work with people that are gone from this world.
Yes. So when I'm doing my coaching comes from, and yours does too, it's all intuitive. It comes from spirit. You're speaking from your higher self. So before I start my readings, I pray. And I always give like a little disclosure in the beginning of my reading, is you will hear me say, I feel this, or I see this, or I'm hearing this. And so it's all of those 4 C's for me that come together at one time. But with my third eye, I go into spirit, and I look for someone who is present for that person to speak to. And so I always say, it's like I'm going over to a party uninvited. So I'm walking into a room, into a party. And so the first spirit that smiles at me, or I feel connected to, my soul just sucks, like right on that soul. And then I can feel, it's almost like, the movie Ghost.
Yes.
And so like how they went into the person's body, and then you can feel, and, so that's kind of what I do. I merge my spirit with the spirit who has crossed, and then I can feel everything that's happened to them, and hear and see on earth. And it's kind of like a movie that plays in my third eye. And what spirit usually does is I get my information from them for your purpose, for your love life, for your healing. And it usually comes up in order of what is imperative for you at that time, for you to know, and especially if you've been praying or thinking about it, then they're like, okay, then it usually just flows. And then I talk like super fast the entire time, because the information is coming in so fast, and I don't want to miss anything at all. And then so I just end up being like that. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, I gotta take a deep breath, and then, because I get out of breath because it comes in so fast. So, and then also, like, if they have someone that I didn't pick up on, I can go and I'll be like, okay, I'll go in and I'll find this person, or we'll ask that person to be present. And then they will give some sort of tangible evidence. We call it, it's actually called evidential mediumship. So you need some evidence to know something that I would have no idea. I remember I read some woman who had, I couldn't get away from a gold wedding band. I was like, her husband had crossed. Well, the wedding band was in her wallet. She had it with her. I said, you have the gold wedding band with you. So he's telling me to tell her. And she was like, oh my God. And she pulled it out. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Because sometimes and sometimes I'll be like, oh my God. Like, I have no, it still freaks me out, like in a good way, like a good freak out, like I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. They're like, how did you know? I was like, I don't know. And sometimes that's why I say, like, I'm so good at it, because I don't really think a lot. I'm not really like a deep thinker. I'm a deep feeler, but I think that you have to get out of your own way. Like, you have to like stop thinking with your human mind, you just have to flow with what's happening.
Very cool. Yeah, I can understand a little bit, because sometimes when something really cool happens for me or my clients, then I'm like also, oh wow, this really works. I'm still sometimes impressed. I mean, I know it works, but sometimes I'm like, okay, it really does work.
Because you're speaking from your higher self, and then sometimes I will not, and this might happen to you, but you might take notes like while you're coaching and stuff like that. I have return clients as well. And I will say, I know who you are, but I don't remember what we've talked about, because it's not coming from me. I was like, so give me like 2 minutes, because it'll be repetitive, and then we'll get down and dirty, like that. So like the same information will flow in. So, and it just helps it's called a link. So you link with spirit. So I have to keep that link. And it's hard after a while. Like, I can't do more than like 10 people a day, because it's tiring.
Okay. I can usually not do more than 2 coachings a day. And then I'm like, okay, I soak up everybody's energy a lot. So I'm like,
so you have to like cleanse. Now, 10 people, like I'll go to people's houses and we'll do like spirit parties. And so I'll sit in the other room, and they'll come in every, 20, 30 minutes. And then I'll sage, thank that spirit, get rid of that spirit, and then go home and salt bath, or something to ground you back down. Red wine, lots of red wine. So I'm sorry, the dog is barking. Yeah. We got a puppy. And you know what, that's another thing, is that spirit can, like, your animals can see spirit. So if there's something, in the room, your animals can see it. And hear, and babies, like if your baby is like looking around and everything, so the baby can definitely see like sparkles, like angel sparkles and stuff like that. So they're all around us. If you go outside and just kind of like stare at a tree, you'll start to be able to see the energy, of that tree and stuff. And so that's actually kind of how I increased my intuition and my hearing from spirit. Is I would go sit in the woods, and I would run to the woods, and sit, close my eyes, and just listen, and just like kind of like close, like take out your scene so I can feel and hear. And I'd be like, okay, that's a blue jay over there. Okay, this is back here, and so then that increased my clairaudience, was by going to the woods and just listen, because that's nature, that's God out there. So,
well, maybe it's a stupid question, but could anybody be a medium, or is it something that is like your gift, and people who do this, it's their gift given, or could anybody be a medium?
So, because you and I talked about that the other day, and I've been praying about it, because I don't feel like I have the right to say that, because God can give anybody any gift. And I know that there are some famous mediums that I actually follow and I learned from, like, I think it was John Holland. He was a psychic. Mm-hmm. And so he did tarot cards. I'm pretty sure it was John Holland, might've been John Edward. He did tarot cards. And then all of a sudden, he was a psychic. Then all of a sudden his purpose was to become a medium. So he started hearing spirit. So I think that you can elevate yourself to become that. I don't think it's everyone's purpose to give readings of people who have crossed over, but I feel like everyone has the power and the right. It is your God-given right to be able to speak to the divine. So you can call it mediumship, you can call it divinity, you can call it, just you're prayerful, like anything. Everyone can talk to their ones that have crossed over. Absolutely. Okay. So I don't per se think that you would be a medium in a sense, but everyone has that ability to speak to your loved ones. They want you to talk to them. They want you to know that they are okay. They want you to see the signs from them. So you have your own, connection with who have crossed over. Now, I don't know if they would be able to, pick up on somebody else's spirit, but if you're supposed to, because I've really been thinking about it when you ask that, and I just think that everyone has the ability to connect with spirit. It's your right as a human to know that we are connected to what we cannot see.
I mean, actually, when we break it down, we are all just spirit. I mean, we have a human body and a mind to make this experience on the world, but actually we are just spirit. So it makes sense that we can all connect because we are spirit. So we connect to other spirits.
Yes, exactly. So we're just, I think, what's that whole saying? Like, we're borrowed. We borrowed these bodies. We're just souls. And so that's when you meet someone and you're like, I mean, I believe in past lives, and that's probably a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother thing. But like, when you meet someone and you're like immediately connected, then to me, that's your soul. Your soul knows that person. Your soul is attracted to, like you can have friend soulmates. You can have, like you, Ula, and my family, like you just fit. You're the soul family, so it has to be something from thousands of years is what I believe, and that we're all somehow connected.
I always tell people, actually, I'm very sure that in a former life, I was an American. I am so attracted to the United States, to the language, to your family. It's like my family in the States. I always say I have a second family there. It's not, I don't think it's like a coincidence. I also have the feeling there is a deeper connection.
And that just gave me the chills all over, like when you just said that. Yeah. And it is no coincidence, like whatsoever, that you ended up in my family's life. It's no coincidence.
I think so too. I feel the connection. We haven't seen each other. At the last time I was in the United States was 2014 in December. So it's almost 7 years. So we haven't seen each other and haven't talked in like 7 or 8 years. And we see each other and we instantly connect again. So that's no coincidence.
Like no time has passed.
No, right. It's like it was yesterday that I was with your family. And
I know. I think you were headed to New York, and my dad was so upset that you were
that I took the bus.
And what is it called when you go and you stay? Is it a hostel?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, he was so concerned.
Oh gosh, I know. He was
like, because you were like, what? You were like one of his granddaughters or his daughter, something. He was like, no. And you're like, I promise, Granddad, it's fine.
Right.
I remember that.
He was a cop, so he was always worried. But I knew I was gonna be fine. I don't know.
You did. You did know that. Yes.
And then I was still very young. So I was like, okay, adventure. Here you go.
I know. I love that you were adventurous like that. Yeah.
So how did you find out you had that gift of like also not just connecting to other spirits, but to make it, to do it for other people and to like make that a profession and like your purpose actually?
So so what I have experienced myself, and then all I did was read for like 2 years. I just read and read and read. And it was like intuitive, like I would be drawn to a book. I have a cousin who's a medium as well, and I would not be who I am without her. She's taught me absolutely everything, but she also, in the very beginning, when I was waking up, I had to figure it out myself. And I would text her and be like, is this right? And she's like, yep. And I'm like, more? She's like, nope. Like, cause you kind of have to figure out that path for yourself. And she kind of figured it all out. Thank God. And her and I joke now, she's like, I didn't have anybody. Now, when I was little, one time I was laying in bed, and actually my sister Tiffany was with me, and we saw an angel across the room. So we both at that age didn't understand that it was an angel. We got scared, but now knowing older, I could always see, I have a wolf that's a totem of mine, that is my protector. So I can see him, like he walks around with me like a dog. Nobody else can see him, but I didn't know anybody else couldn't see him. And then I would dream about him when I was really little, and it scared me. And my sister would come get me and she'd be like, it's okay, he's your protector. So Tiffany kind of just knew this as well. Now, when I went through my divorce in 2013, so it was actually right before you left, when you go through something traumatic in your life, and it was a very traumatic experience, sometimes your soul, that's what your soul needs to wake up. So like near-death experience, but it wasn't, it was just a trauma. And so then I knew I have a purpose. So I would wake up in the middle of the night, and there would be all of this, like, and I've always been very, very, very into angels, even since I was a little girl. Like, just even when at my wedding, we gave out angel pins. So there was 250 people walking around with angel pins. Like, I just am very connected to the angels. I always have been. I just find comfort in that they're God's messengers, and that they're with us. So when I went through that traumatic experience and I just started reading, I would wake up and there would be like an aura over my bed, like a green, and I would just Google. So that's Raphael. So then I just started praying to the Archangel Raphael. And the more I read, and then I would start hearing, it's that lucid sleep in the morning, like when you're in between wake, and I used to hear spirit, and they would call my name or they would give me a message. And then my third eye just woke up. So I would just start laying in bed, and I would see, I remember that I will never forget this. This is the first pretty much vision. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. I saw a greyhound, like a dog running, and it had like it was in a race almost. And it had a number on it. I think it was the number 5, because this was a long time ago. Well, the next day I was going to pick up a dog for a puppy from Santa for my kids. So I went to get Sally. And when I went to pick her up, there was greyhounds everywhere. And I was like, oh, bus, I was like, oh my God. So then I was just like, okay, he must, the angels must be showing me, what's going to happen. So then I just started meditating and meditating and meditating. I started having my cousin at my house, and she would give readings, and she's like, Erin, you can do this. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm like, no, I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm not. And so I would do cards, like angel cards. And then the more I did the cards, then I didn't need the cards anymore, and I could connect to spirit. So it took a while to gain that trust in myself.
Yeah.
And I still get a little nervous before I do a reading, because I always like to say it's like going into a business meeting unprepared.
Yeah.
Like I can't prepare for it besides take care of my body and pray. And so it's all about trust. It's all about, and I say that in the beginning of doing any sort of reading whatsoever, is that I don't know what's going to come up, and we're just going to go with it. And it might make sense today. It might never make sense. I'm not Jesus. I'm just here trying to help people, connect and let go of that grief, and to know that their loved ones are okay. And like help them find your purpose. Because if you're not living your purpose, then I just feel like that just makes me sad. You're sad.
Right.
Everyone has a purpose on this earth. So that's how it kind of started, was the trauma. It kind of like took my soul. It awakened my soul.
Yeah.
So And I've always, like I said, always been in touch with spirits and stuff, or, I lived in California for a while. So California is like, woo, like all that stuff.
Right.
But it was more or less, if you go through something, so what my experience was, I had to go through something traumatic for me to find my purpose to be able to start to do this.
It's it happens so often. Most people will say, well, there was this day one or this day zero that something happened and then it really changed my life. I think we still, as humans, because we're humans, most people have to hit rock bottom. And then to be like, okay, I have this one life and I'm not going to do, like, I have to change something, or wow, this changed me, or something like that. Yeah, I come from an experience like that a lot. Mm-hmm.
That forever changed me is, it was something horrible that happened, but something beautiful that came out of it. So that's how I have to look at it.
Yeah, I totally understand. Yes. Well, when you, like you said, you still have to learn to trust yourself. I also can feel you a lot. I know you can't really say, like, when you buy a new phone, you will say, okay, this is your description, this is what you get. Yeah. When you coach or when you do something spiritual, you can't say this is what you get from what we're doing now. We have to trust, and we will have to see what comes up today. And what I usually do is I always set the intention, I will always find the right words today, and I will always have the right idea. Like also with my podcast, there's sometimes afterwards people ask, like, did I say the right thing? Did I say enough? Should I have said more or less? And I'm always like, no, you said the perfect thing. I'm always trusting that whatever we say on this podcast is what people need to hear. And even if it's one person that needed to hear this, it's perfectly fine.
I just got the chills again. So you're absolutely right. And I say something like that too. Like, when I first started, I would just like your guides. So there's difference between guides and angels. So angels, we're all born with guides and angels. So your angels have never been incarnate before. So they know nothing but love. That's all they know. Yeah, cool. It's just love, 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 love. It's just, I mean, imagine, the most beautiful place, peace, that is the angels. They cannot help us unless we ask every day. They cannot intervene in our life. So you have to turn your, your words are saying, I'm trusting. So you are handing over your day to spirit. You're handing your day over to angels. The only time angels can intervene in our life is if it's not time for us to cross yet. So if you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm so mad, I'm late. Okay, well, maybe you're late for a reason. So that's the angels. You're going to miss a car accident, or you're going to miss, so just kind of just go with the flow and just say, have you ever gotten on the road and you're like, oh my God, if I hadn't forgotten my phone inside, I could have been that car. Those are your angels intervening, that when it's not time for you to leave this earth, that's when, then they will intervene unless we ask them. Now, our guides, we have different guides that will come in and out of our life. You do have main guides that, you can connect with, but they have been incarnate in this world, so they can understand our human feelings. And basically that's just what they are, is they are our guides. They are our life guides. And people who want to get in touch with their guides, all I say is talk to them. Talk to them. And that's how I started to connect with mine. I would literally be driving around talking out loud just to them, and then I would be like, hey, let's just have fun, or go on a run. And okay, if you guys are with me, I would ask for a sign, I want to see a white butterfly, and then you would be, and then it would go around my head, or something crazy, or, just run, follow me, and I'm like, okay, my guides are with me, so you have to trust those little things. Also, signs from spirit, my guides give me that. My main guide is a Native American, so I find feathers everywhere. So, and mainly hawk feathers, because his name is Chief Greyhawk. Yeah. So I get hawk feathers everywhere all the time. So then I understand that he is with me and connecting with me, and that I pay attention to what's going on around, because he's got something to say.
Very cool.
So, yeah, so there's a difference between angels and guides, and everybody has both. everyone.
So basically, when people listen now and they want to connect to their angels or guides, this is what you would recommend. They just like talk to them, ask, and get that connection and ask for signs and stuff like that.
That's all you have to do. It's just a conversation. And the more you talk to them and the more you thank them, the more that they will communicate with you. You're opening up that line of communication. So, and signs from spirit are, pennies or any kind of like nickels, dimes, quarters, songs on your, just repetitive songs that come up all the time. Feathers, what else? Rainbows are a big thing. Feathers, rainbows, butterflies, birds, sometimes, like there's this cardinal that's always outside and I actually don't know who it is myself because I can't really read myself, but I always hear him chirping. I was like, oh my God, I don't know who it is. So, but I will just go outside and I will acknowledge and I will say, people think I'm crazy, but I'll be like, thank you for your song. Like just so beautiful, but can you turn it down like a little, trying to sleep. So just, different birds and, you'll be able to connect with your angels. You can ask for a specific, and even like certain things, like if I've wanted to change a job or move, I will ask, absolutely, okay, if I go into this store and if I find a coin today, then then I know you're with me. I know you are guiding me on this journey. So I ask for specifics, like that. I actually like things tangible, like in my hand, because it just makes me trust like a little bit more. So, but that's all you have to do is just ask and you will receive. You will, they are so excited and all they want to do is to communicate with us but we have to ask them. And some people, like with your guides, you might get, I get a lot of people that think that they're something negative, but you ever feel like a shadow like behind you or something, and then you just have to like turn around and you're like, those are your guides. So you just see like something out of the corner of your eye, and I always say, pray for the highest good, protect your energy, protect your space. Archangel Michael, I have him with me, he's with anyone, he's non-denominational. You can just ask him to protect you. And then, it's just fun. And I remember when I first started doing this, I could not wait because it's like magic to me. It's like you wake up every day and you're like, I'm so excited to go outside. It's like that child. It's like an uninhibited, child that's just out running and like, okay, what does spirit have for me today? And all they want for us to do is just to be happy and go outside and just connect with our higher selves. And it just, to me, it makes me feel better as a human, that do you hear the cardinal's back now that I asked, that I just put him up? He's outside chirping. I'm like, okay, I hear you. So, and it could just be one of my guides. I actually don't know who it is. That's the only thing in my life that I don't know everything, but it's the only sign that I don't ever know who the cardinal is. So
that's funny.
He's new. He's new. He's a new friend of mine.
Before we talked, I was outside in the backyard, and when I just do some like meditative work where I don't have to think a lot, I let my like thoughts just flow around, and then I get very inspired and I have a lot of ideas. So I really asked, I was like, should I keep working here in the backyard or should I go inside, sit on the computer for an hour and work a little bit? And I mean, it's Sunday, so I usually don't work on Sundays. So I was like, what should I do? And it started raining. And I was like, thank you for the answer.
See? Oh my God, that's perfect. I love that.
Right. So I was like, okay, I'm not staying outside. I'm supposed to go inside and work a little bit. So I was like, okay, Thank you for the answer right away. You just have to see the signs and accept it as signs,
I love it. You're right on track. Right on track.
So I love it. And then people, of course, they will say it's a coincidence. And I'm always like, you can decide if it is or if it not. In my world, it's not a coincidence. It's a sign from universe, from God, whatever you want to call it. And you always you can always make the decision for yourself if you want to live your life, like seeing everything is a wonder, everything like is a miracle, everything is a sign. Or if you want to live your life like there is no miracles and then everything is a coincidence and you can just decide. But I think we have a lot more fun,
Exactly, because it's like there is no such thing as a coincidence.
No,
it's just it is not. No. And I think that there's the book, I believe it's called God's Wink. Mm-hmm. So it's like a coincidence is God's winking at you.
Yeah, it
God's
is.
Wink. And it's like a little easy read. But it is, and it talks about even people, like even your soulmate. Like if you stop and think about how you met, there's just it's just divine. It's divine intervention to me. There's no coincidences at all.
No, I don't.
And numbers are a huge thing. Numbers are huge. And each number has its own vibration, which means something, completely different. So that's like 444 is my favorite just because that's the archangels. I love them all. So I'm not like, I'll take them all, but like license plates in front of me. And it doesn't have to be like a triple number or anything. It could be like 4, 5, 6. And if I see it more than 3 times a day, then I will look up what those numbers mean. And then it's a message from my angels.
Or at the time, like a lot of times, like I look at the watch and it's like 11 a.m. or 11 like that.
Yeah. 11 is the huge, that's like the wake up, spirit wants us to, wake up, watch your thoughts, all of those things. Yeah.
So I really like these two. Or sometimes like I record a voice message on and then it's like 1 minute and 11 seconds. And I'm like, see,
I know. I love that. Or like you get off the phone with, like a reading or just your best friend. And you're like, oh my gosh, it was 33 minutes and 33 seconds, just something like that. I was like, yes, that means we did it good. We did it right. All of those things.
Absolutely.
I love it. Yeah.
How is this in the United States? I always think you're a little further than we are in Europe. Well, I'm like in my bubble, but I think in Germany, in Europe, even coaching is very weird. Therapy is very weird. And I know in the States, it's normal to have a coach, to go to therapy. So would you say being spiritual and talking about these things in public, people will be like, oh yeah, cool. Or do they think you're like crazy?
Both. I kind of don't come right out and just say it. I kind of like feel out the room a little bit and kind of see like if we're on the same page. Like when I got my hair done yesterday, it was a new hairdresser, and I'm not like, I can turn it on and off. So I'm not always, I'm a normal human. I'm not always hearing voices. Like I'll check in, like if I need to know something, and then it's like a light switch. I can turn on and off. But when I was at the hairdresser yesterday, a hairdresser, he was amazing, and he said something about like this guy, and I was like, and they're like, he's obsessed with him. So I heard it, I checked in, and I said, he's obsessed with you. And he turned around and looked at me, and he was like, what? And I was like, he's obsessed with you. And we just started talking. I was like, well, I'm a psychic medium. And then they're like, oh my God, and so then it was just like, a half hour of just talking about that. So it was very, it was a comfortable space for me to be able to say that. Sometimes, and it, and I have to say, like, sometimes it depends on my mood. Sometimes I am who I am. So you're going to accept me and love me, whether you agree with it or not, or sometimes I'm too scared. It's just because I'm a human too. So, you either love me or you don't. I don't know. I can't make you or force you, and that's not up to me. So you're either, I call them low hanging fruit. Like if you don't want to be with me, you're low hanging fruit, because I'm going to reach high. I'm going to reach high for my people. I don't want any low hanging fruit.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Like, because they're just going to lower your vibration. If you're not going to believe in a purpose or a higher being, then I will pray for you. Like, I want to help you if you want help, but I'm not going to force anyone to believe what I believe.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's my own, that's my path. That's what I have to do. So I'm just kind of like low hanging fruit. We don't need any low hanging vibes.
Yeah.
And my family thinks I'm batshit crazy, but it's okay.
Love you for it.
They do love me for it.
It's always funny with Erin in the house. It's always it's very funny with you in the house. I had a lot of very funny moments with Erin in the house.
I've had a lot of funny moments because you know what? It's it's when you're awakened to spirit, you're just supposed to have fun. That's all they want. Be fun, have fun, be kind, be kind. And you know what? If you feel like you're having an angry day, it's okay. You can be angry, but just acknowledge, just be like, you know what? Really not in a good mood. Yeah. And say that. Mm-hmm. Acknowledge, you know what, I'm kind of being a jerk right now. I'm kind of in a jerky mood. God, I say it to Ellie all the time. I'm like, I might need 5 minutes, maybe light some candles. You might want to go away, Feel a little down. So you just got to pick yourself back up a little bit. So,
yeah. Very cool. Well, when people reach out to you and they want to book you, do they usually have like a certain question they ask, or do they can they also come and say like, what do you have for me today? What spirit has a message for me today?
Both. So I get both. I get a lot of people who are wanting to know if their crossed over loved ones are okay. That's the biggest thing. And these are people that are so sad, or and the biggest thing that I've learned is don't regret anything. Like, regret, and spirit does not want you to regret. Like, if you've had an argument with somebody and then they cross, they don't, spirit, it's okay, forgive yourself, but live every day. And I know it's very hard, and I don't practice what I preach all the time, but to your fullest, because you never know when it's going to be your time, especially, this past year, it's been horrible. But when people come to me, I would say the main thing is they want to know, they're asking for some sort of forgiveness, or is it okay that I've done this? Or is it okay that, I sold his car after he died because I needed money? All of those things that we as humans take on and think it's a really big deal. And to spirit, it's not. And your crossover loved ones are always okay. And I get a lot of people, this is very sad, like some suicide.
Yeah. Okay.
And so for, if they've committed suicide, because that all just stems from depression. God is not going to punish you for being depressed. Yeah. And I'm not, God is not, they are going to be fine. God is going to heal them when they cross over. They're in the loving arms of God. God is all forgiving and all love. Yeah. So suicide, stuff like that, that's, very, very hard. People are have a very hard time with that. Or what could I have done better? Those are a lot of questions. And it's really, you've done everything you possibly could. You can't control somebody else's life path. You can't control that. That was their, you are in charge of yourself. Mm-hmm. You are in charge of your soul. I get a lot of love, of course, because everybody, all they want is love, Yeah. Where's my soulmate? Or, is this relationship going to work? Or, I get, so that, and I would say your life purpose. Those are the top 3 things that people are seeking, all humans. Those are like the, the main things, like love and your purpose.
Yeah.
Those are pretty much, it's like food and water.
Yeah. Right.
It's like food and water. Every soul just wants to be loved and to be loved and to be accepted and to have that person. I truly feel like as humans, we're like penguins. You're not supposed to be alone. You have that mate that you're supposed to be with forever. And you got yours.
I think so. We're only like right before our 4th anniversary, so we still have some years to go.
You'll be fine. I feel all good things. You're fantastic.
So if people want to reach out to you or want to know more about what you do, where and how can they find you?
So they can email me or just text me that they would like a reading. Mm-hmm. And it's as easy as that. And then I schedule mostly on the weekends, sometimes in the evenings, most of the time in the weekends, because it just takes a lot of energy.
Yeah. Can I put like your email and maybe your Facebook page in the show notes?
Absolutely. And I think on my Facebook page, I believe my cell phone number is on there that they will be able to text me and find me that way. So email or text message, because it's, that's how everyone gets. And then I get referrals from people, all the time also. I love to do group things. I love to go to people's houses and help them heal. And it's just kind of like having a party. And the thing is that some people are so scared that as a medium or other mediums, and even my cousin, like, don't be scared. I don't know anything scary. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, all I'm doing, I am just the conduit for you to heal, to be better. Like, there's nothing scary about it whatsoever. I don't see death. That's up to God. I don't see like your death. That's up to God. Yeah. It's not up to me to tell somebody, oh, you're gonna, it's just, that's not how I use my gift. That's not how I want to use my gift. I don't want to see, that's God. Mm-hmm. Cool. So we just kind of just go with the flow. Yeah. All it is. It's just like a party. I even last weekend, or I think it was 2 weeks ago, I did a Zoom call with two. I was like, I've been at the pool all day, so I'm just gonna hop on here in my bathing suit. And I was like, we're just gonna do this just for fun. You get some wine, and we're just gonna chat like friends. And that's all it is. It's completely just a conversation. Yeah. And sometimes I don't know. And it's like a puzzle in my third eye. So I will say, you're going to have to help me figure this out as well. Like, I'll see something. Like, the entire time you and I have been talking, all I keep seeing is sunflowers. So sunflowers, like, everywhere. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know what that means, but there's sunflowers. Do you like sunflowers?
I do, but they're not my favorite kind of flowers. But I will look it up. What does sunflowers mean?
Sunflowers, I know it's Bridget's favorite. So maybe, since you guys love each other so much, so that could be it.
Maybe because she was our connect, like, she's the connection, why we know each other. That's cool.
Right. It was just like sunflowers. And actually, Ellie loves sunflowers. Actually, I love all of God's flowers, but it's my least favorite flower. So I
said the other day, it's not what we put in our backyard. It's not sunflowers. No.
Yeah, I just keep seeing sunflower. And so something, like I say, like, I don't know, like, things just pop into and it eventually will make sense. Yeah,
it will.
And it could be the connection with Bridget, because the whole time I was like, why am I in a sunflower field? I don't even like it now.
It's funny. So
I know, but it's like, they will physically put me somewhere. Like, some woman was changing jobs, and she was like, where do I go? And I was like, I don't know, but I'm standing in a library. I was like, there's just books everywhere. Well, it was the Congress.
Wow, cool.
And then she went back and worked there like 2 weeks later. I was like, I'm standing in this massive like library that looks like Harry Potter. And she was like, it's Congress.
That's cool. Yeah.
So it's just, it's just as simple as that. It's nothing scary. It's something beautiful. I want everyone to walk away feeling better and believing in higher power and knowing that their loved ones and their angels are here with them to help them and love them. That's what my purpose is.
And you can also do the readings online. Like, you could do it over Zoom or whatever.
I can do it over Zoom. I can do it over a phone, because it's just energy.
Yeah. Cool.
It's all energy. I don't have to be sitting next to somebody. Yes.
Perfect. I will put all of that information in the show notes. It's very cool.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I thank you, Erin, for taking the time and being here and talking to me about all this. It's very interesting. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be a part of it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Love you. Bye. Now I'm going to have a tear. Love you. Bye.
That was so much fun. I hope you liked this episode as well. And if you did, please leave us some feedback on today's post on Instagram. I will put it all in the show notes. You can write Erin or me an email and leave us your feedback. And if you have any questions for us, also please feel free to ask. And thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Please share this episode if you liked it, if somebody else needs to listen to this. And I hope you will also tune in next time to feel inside yourself. Bye bye.